So in 2007, a group of people came together and formed what is now the Defenders Coalition. And through this platform, a lot of work has gone in it. Actually, this is the 17th year that the organization has been in existence. I never imagined that I will be in a position where I will be defending those who are defending rights. I always thought that I would be the one who is defending rights. The Defenders Coalition prides itself with a very long-standing partnership with the Embassy of Denmark in this country, especially when it comes to human rights.
Hi, my name is Rachel Mwikali, and today we are doing an episode of Gender Equality and Human Rights podcast. I'm excited to host one of the amazing woman human rights defender, Pan-African feminist, and a sister, a comrade on this episode. I want her to introduce herself, tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love.
Thank you very much, Rachel. My name is Gloria Madegwa, woman human rights defender, as you have said. I currently work with the National Coalition of Human Rights Defenders, popularly known as the Defenders Coalition, and I take lead in program work and strategic partnerships in the organization. Apart from me being a woman human rights defender, I am also a trained lawyer, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and currently pursuing my law master's degree from the Daystar University in Kenya, Nairobi.
And you're in the same university, huh?
Yes.
Exciting. So, Gloria, I know you have come a long way in terms of defending not women, but also defending us, women human rights defenders. What drew you to be doing this amazing work of defending people like Mwikali?
Thanks, Mwikali. That question takes me far back when I was still in campus. In my second year of campus, there's a specific unit that we do that is called International Human Rights. But apart from that, I think human rights is something that has grown in me over the years since I was a young girl. In primary school, in secondary school, I just couldn't sit back when I saw violations happening. Violations as simple as a teacher is in class past the time allocated to them. I would usually ask, teacher, why are we still in class and yet it is maybe our break time? And that has grown in me, including matatus. When we're in campus, you're going to school, you get that matatu fares have been hiked. I was usually the first one to speak out and say, hey, why are we being forced to do things that are not good? So human rights has grown in me, but and I thank God that even after my education, my formal education, he gave me an opportunity to be in the space that I'm in right now, and which is human rights. I never imagined that I will be in a position where I will be defending those who are defending rights. I always thought that I would be the one who is defending rights. So in 2013, I got an opportunity to work in the current organization that I'm in. But before then, I had interned in several institutions in Kenya, one among them being Kenya Human Rights Commission, which actually gave me the base of where I am right now. More specifically, why I have been pulled to support women human rights defenders specifically is in 2015, when God blessed me with a child. And of course, with the work, I am a lactating mother. No opportunities were given to see how I can be able to multitask both of those things. And therefore, in 2015, we decided as an institution just to do a survey and get an indication of what are the unique challenges and needs that women human rights defenders face in the course of their work. Because we used to mobilize women for workshops to enhance their skill in different areas, but women were not showing up. And when we did a survey, we came to understand that before a woman leaves their house, before a woman leaves her home, there are several things that this woman has to take into perspective. Number one in the list being, I have children, and how am I leaving those children? So gradually, after the survey, we came up and we had women giving recommendation. A recommendation as simple as, hey, you know know what, I am in a position to come to the conference so long as you will allow me to come with my nanny and with my child, so that my nanny can be taking care of my child as I am in class and getting the knowledge that is being shared. And from there, the perspective changed on how women can be accommodated in this space so that they're able to give their optimum when it comes to defending rights. And therefore, from that time, from 2015, it has been growth and it has been progress of ensuring that women are in this space, speaking truth to power, as much as they have their own things that they're doing in their homes, they are in a position to ensure that I am in this space doing human rights work, but at the same time, I have the opportunity to take care of my family.
And that's so impressive. I really love on how you have been able to break the role that many of us we don't see, on how you have been able to create a safe space for women human rights defenders to be able to attend even conferences or participate in the decision-making spaces within the sector, the civil society sector, that many of us we don't see. Because there's that narrative or perception, we assume everybody, when you call them for workshop, they can come. Yeah. But you have managed, Gloria, to bring that leadership of feminism, ensuring that you're able to bring in opportunities that can enable many of us to participate in being good in whichever we are doing. Yes. As well as, if you ask me, I see you as also one of the people that you have been able to come up with tools, strategy to prevent shrinking civic space even within our organizing. Mm-hmm. So I really want also to take you back to, I know Defenders Coalition, you do a lot of work in safeguarding, supporting, protection of us women human rights defenders, including myself. I'm a beneficiary of Defenders Coalition. Mm-hmm. Could you please explain to us the work of Defenders Coalition beyond what, I know you're very invisible, but you are visible in our hearts and in many spaces. What do you do as an institution?
Thank you, Rachel. So the Defenders Coalition started way back in 2007. And I know, as a Kenyan, whenever you hear 2007, there's one thing that usually clicks, and it is the post-election violence that was experienced in this country after the disputed elections then. People were sending information on what was happening, violations that were happening, the killings that people were seeing within different regions. But there was no one to coordinate this information, to put it in one place and share the information with the relevant bodies so that something can be done about it. So in 2007, a group of people came together and formed what is now the Defenders Coalition. And through this platform, a lot of work has gone in it. Actually, this is the 17th year that the organization has been in existence. And through the Defenders Coalition, we support, our major work is ensuring the safety, security, and well-being of human rights defenders. And how does that look like when we talk about safety, when we talk about security, and when we talk about wellness? It simply means, how can Mwikali or how can Gloria, who is a defender in this country, continue doing their work within the confines of the law? Number one, we support in advocacy, ensuring that laws and policies that govern the work of human rights defenders, there are laws and policies that actually govern the work of human rights defenders in Kenya. And also number two, ensuring that the provisions in the Constitution that are very specific to human rights are implemented and are upheld. We have also ensured that at county level, defenders work very closely with their county governments to ensure that human rights are part of their governing tools, even as devolution came in. So we have done that in ensuring that, number one, there is representation of human rights defenders within court users committees, popularly known as CUCs, where defenders take part in court sessions, and they're able to share their experiences with the magistrates of those courts and share best practices on what can be done, and especially when a human rights defender is brought before before court of law. We also do advocacy not only at the national level, but also at the regional level and at the global level. We ensure that the concerns that human rights defenders have in Kenya that need to be accelerated at the regional level is there. The Defenders Coalition holds status at the African Commission on Peoples and Human Rights. And in this particular platform, we ensure that we share concerns on human rights defenders and what we feel that particular commission can be able to guide Kenya, being a member of the commission, on what they need to do to support the work of human rights defenders. And at the global level, there's of course the Universal Periodic Review, where in Kenya we are the ones, the Defenders Coalition convenes the working group on human rights defenders, and we share recommendations after a report has been shared with the commission, with the UPR. We share recommendations, and with those recommendations we take them back during the review process. Over the years, several recommendations have been adopted that are very specific to the work of human rights defenders in this country. Fortunately or unfortunately, the Kenyan government has taken some of the recommendations and are implementing it, but most of the recommendations that we make have not been taken into perspective. And one major one that comes to mind right now is a human rights defenders policy. Kenya, as stands right now, does not have a policy or a governing law that is specific to human rights defenders. We have been pushing for this. It is a recommendation that the Kenyan government committed that it will take up to see how that works. But unfortunately, almost 10 years later, we do not have a policy.
We'll keep on pushing.
Yes, and we also, in terms of against safety, we make sure we support human rights defenders in strengthening capacities to do their work. What does the capacity look like in terms of their physical and digital security when they're doing their advocacy work? What are some of the things that they need to put into perspective and they need to ensure they put in place? So we have really invested in ensuring or supporting human rights defenders to build their skills on their physical security. When I am going for a protest, when I am following up on a case, what are some of the things that I really need to be careful about? And since technology has now taken over how we do our advocacy work, we have also invested quite heavily in how we train defenders on the digital space, how to do your activism in the digital space, ensuring that you keep within the confines of the law, but also ensuring your own safety is guaranteed. We also support in legal representation when a human rights defender finds themselves in conflict with the law. We work very closely with the Law Society of Kenya to see how we can offer support to human rights defenders when they have cases in court. We get pro bono lawyers from the Law Society of Kenya who work with them to ensure that justice is served. And most importantly, we have also filed public interest litigation cases that are cases that the public need to know what is happening and how they can be able to circumvent. So that is just part of the work that we do as at the Defenders Coalition. And if you may allow me, Rachel, so that I do not forget, we also understand the burnout that comes with the work that human rights defenders do. And we have made very deliberate steps to ensure that we have a whole wellness program, a well-being program where we have counselors, psychologists on standby to work with human rights defenders. We create safe spaces for human rights defenders just to go and exhale and just take a breather before they can go back home. And also we have made sure that whenever we bring human rights defenders together, we make sure that one of the things that we put as a forefront is their well-being. So we put mechanisms, we put activities that we make sure will enhance their well-being and wellness even when they go back to do the good work they do on the ground.
And I can confirm that whatever she has said, tick. So there are also like special or cross-cutting programs that I know you run as Defenders Coalition that I feel it's important even for the public and then for other institution and partner to know. Like, for example, I know you have an Imama program or network that also works closely with end femicide movement in Kenya, and it has been like a biggest host for end femicide movement in Kenya. And then you have Climb for Justice, and you have Aki Village. Maybe in 1 minute, could you be able to explain the difference about this initiative and why they're important, not only to Defenders Coalition, but to citizens, public, and active people who are doing social justice work in Kenya and in Africa?
Okay, Rachel, as I had mentioned, after 2015, when we did the survey to get to understand how we can stand in the gap for women, that is when the Nimama network was born. Why Nimama? because it is very specific to address challenges, to address concerns that are very specific and unique to women human rights defenders. And what we have done, we have brought together women human rights defenders from the 47 counties together under the Nimama Network. And what do we do together as Nimama Network? We make sure once a year in March, we convene physically just to understand what are some of these issues that we have been going through. What are the issues that women human rights defenders are facing within their counties, and how can we learn from each other? But throughout the year, we have programs, we have events, and we have activities that we make sure bring us together through the digital spaces. And when we get opportunities, when women within the counties, within their organizations come together and they have activities, we involve ourselves and they invite other women from other counties. What has this platform done for women human rights defenders? It has become the safe haven and the safe space where women can come, discuss their issues without any pretense, without any fear. And from there, the networks that we have built and connected them with other spaces, they are able to get support. And also we offer support to ensure that the conversation of women human rights defenders, the conversation of feminism in this country continues. When we talk about Climb for Justice, it is an initiative that the Defenders Coalition came up with in 2019 after the funding landscape took a dip. You will agree with me that resources have been very scarce when it comes to resourcing human rights work. But we say this is not going to be the end. We came up with the initiative called Climb for Justice, where human rights defenders from across the 47 counties have been hiking, going up in mountains and hills across this country, raising 2 shillings to build a home for human rights defenders. This is how we feel that human rights work in this country will be sustainable. So far, within the last 6 years, we have managed to buy land from the hiking that human rights defenders have done, because this is an initiative that is very specific to human rights defenders. And soon and very soon, we are going to build a home for human rights defenders where we have bought land so that human rights defenders can have a home where they can converge and continue doing their human rights work.
Wow, that's amazing. And also urging the public, if also you don't mind, you can share the PayBill number. If people want to contribute, they can be able to contribute to be able to build a home for women HRDs.
So the PayBill for the Climb for Justice is M-Pesa. You go to PayBill. The number is 810-896. And on the account number, you put your name. Whatever amount you have, we will really appreciate, because we really want to ensure that Kenyans in this country, and especially those who have put themselves on the front line, are safe even when they're doing that.
Yeah. So thank you, Gloria. And I want also, I know, even with us defenders, you have had also partnership with Denmark in Kenya. That's the Royal Danish Embassy in Kenya around the Human Rights Award. Would you be in a position to tell us how the award started, how you were able to have the judging panels, how has been the significance of working with Denmark in Kenya around the awards and other partners who are involved? Yeah.
Thank you. The Defenders Coalition prides itself with a very long-standing partnership with the Embassy of Denmark in this country, especially when it comes to human rights. And for the last 2 years, the Embassy of Denmark has been a co-convener on the Human Rights Defenders Working Group in Kenya. The Human Rights Defenders Working Group in Kenya is a group that brings together all missions in this country, plus human rights organizations, where they come together, talk about the issues that are affecting human rights defenders, and then we see what are the options to push back on issues to do with shrinking civic space and attacks towards human rights defenders. So in 2024 and 2025, the Defenders Coalition and Denmark were co-convening this particular space. And out of that, also one of the things that happens when embassies are co-convening is that they also plan for the Human Rights Defenders Award. The Human Rights Defenders Award, if you may allow me, Rachel, started in 2016, and it is a space where human rights defenders are celebrated. Not that this does not mean that not all human rights defenders need not to be celebrated, but they are those who have gone beyond the call of duty to ensure that a specific violation is either highlighted or they have put themselves on the front line to ensure that they push back on violations that are happening either at the grassroots level, national level, even at the global level. And therefore, in 2016, a group of organizations came together and said that it would be important for this space to be curated, especially for the protection of human rights defenders. We understand that the moment we profile the good work that human rights defenders are doing in their different spaces, that becomes a space where a protection space for them, because attacks go down if someone was being attacked, because we make sure that we bring out the positive narratives of the particular human rights defenders. Therefore, the Human Rights Defender has actually, the Human Rights Defenders Award has been in existence for the last 10 years. We actually just celebrated the 10th annual Human Rights Defenders Award in March of this year. And out of that, we have winners who are celebrated. Their good work is recognized for what they're doing. And the awards is a very prestigious space for us, not only as an organization, but I know for all human rights defenders. We have a jury that is extremely credible. It has eminent persons from this country who have come up and are doing this work pro bono, where after the call, the Defenders Coalition releases a call every April of each year, and the call runs up to September. And from September now, the jury takes over and does the work that it's supposed to do. We have good representation in that jury. We have a former Chief Justice of this country who is a representative. We have women human rights defenders who are part of the jury. And also we have media journalists who are also part of the jury. And they come together and they sit down and come up with very concise agreements on why the people who have been nominated should actually be awarded. And therefore, I would also take this time to encourage human rights defenders to go and to nominate people who they feel need to be recognized because of the good work that they are doing.
Maybe also, Gloria, a bit on the jury, also for the business, I'm also part of the jury. Could you be able to tell, especially the women human rights defenders, on where maybe they need to nominate, through which link, and agree, and also encourage them that you don't have to write.
Yes.
You can also send a video, but through what link, so that they're able to know if we need to involve or to nominate women HRD or human rights defender who are doing incredible work within their community or in their society, this is where they need to go.
Thank you, Rachel. So I will invite all of us to go to our website, www.defenderscoalition.org. The nomination link is there. And we have really tried to simplify the nomination process. We do not expect you to write a lot of English. Yes. We do not expect you to do a lot of research on someone. We have a WhatsApp number that is actually on that nomination form. You can even send a voice note. You can do a video and send there. It will be up to the people, my colleagues at the Secretariat, to put this information into something that the jury can be able to look at and decide on what the next steps would be. I really encourage us to go to the website of the Defenders Coalition and nominate that person who you feel or who you think needs to be appreciated because of the good work that they're doing at the community.
Yeah, and then also, like, it would be good, Gloria, maybe to mention some of the names of people who have been able to get their awards, as well as people understanding its nomination. It goes to Secretariat, it goes shortlisting to the jury. The jury is very independent and the process is very vigorous to ensure there's credibility and many other things. However, as DC, you hold pride in ensuring that you are creating this space. Who are some of the winners that you have seen winning within the space? Having the face of Kenya, but the impact of human rights work in their society. You can mention maybe a few names of people that have won the awards?
I will speak about two awards that are critical to me. The first one is the Human Rights Defender Award of the year 2025 was actually Larry Madowo, and I read the citation on why the jury decided that Larry should win. It is because Larry has been on the forefront of bringing and sharing stories that very many people and very many journalists shy away from. And what comes to my mind is during the Gen Z protests, Larry was at the forefront of sharing how the police were using excessive force in brutalizing the Gen Zs who were in the field, and also after the elections of Tanzania in 2025, he brought out the issues that have been happening in Tanzania, the violations that happened during the electioneering period. And also, I remember in 2024, the jury awarded one very strong woman human rights defenders posthumously, popularly known as Mama Victor, who died as a result of floods in this country, but also she was at the forefront of fighting for the spaces of women, especially in the informal settlements and very specific to Mathare. Yeah. And therefore, these awards really give you courage and really give you the motivation to continue supporting and doing the good work, to supporting the good work that human rights defenders are doing in the country.
Yeah, thank you, Gloria, for highlighting that and having in mind the fact that also when you talk about prevention of femicide, we saw during the protest, Larry using his platform, working at the CNN to be able to prevent police from harassing young women who are protesters, as well as also amplifying even the same flood that killed our comrade Mama Victor in Mathare. So there's been so much work into it, including Mama Victor fighting for extrajudicial killing. Unfortunately, she passed without also getting justice for the son who were killed in 2017 election. I want us now to move to another sector that is around prevention of gender-based violence and femicide, and where femicide is the intentional killing of women. And when we started this movement in Kenya, where also Defenders Coalition has been key, hosting end femicide movement in this country, that was 2018. You have walked a journey with us, women human rights defenders and Kenyan women. And going to the case of also Elizabeth Ikaru was killed. So I'd really want to hear even from you, the time you went to be a part of the delegation that went to meet the task force that was appointed by the president to lead in the work on ending femicide and GBV. Could you just tell us why DC having this passion of defending women HRD and stopping femicide in this country? Why take the risk in a time also you are targeted by the government to host the end femicide movement? And how has the journey been hosting this movement that is very powerful, that has inspired other movements in the continent?
Thank you, Rachel. So
it's many questions, you can pick whichever part,
yeah.
But just having to also show people the level institutions that are also formalized are playing to support social movement in the continent, as well as advancing different intersectional causes.
Yeah, maybe I will start with the end femicide movement and how the Defenders Coalition came to be the ones who are hosting this particular movement. We, under the Nimama network, we received very many concerns from women across the country of the deaths that were happening, the killings of women arbitrarily and whenever. So we sat down and thought, no, something has to be done and our voices need to be heard. So even when this conversation was being brought to the national level, at the coalition level, at the Nimama network level, the conversation had already first started, because we made sure that women went to the streets to make sure that their voices are heard. And over the years, even as we have been curating this particular movement and supporting the work that they're doing, we thought that it was important for us to ensure that women across the 47 counties have their voices heard. And what did we do? When the president came up with the task force that was going around and taking views from women, we made sure that our Nimama networks, through the representation that we have from every county, have had an opportunity to go before the task force and share specific cases of what have been happening within their counties, and even share what best practices Kenya can offer from different countries and from different regions. We made sure that over 600 women went before the task force, shared their thoughts with regard to that, and we did an analysis after that. 56% of the recommendations that we had given as the End Femicide Movement and the Defenders Coalition were actually adopted by the task force.
Which is progress.
56% is a very good number. But now our concern comes here. There has been zero to none implementation of those particular recommendations. And we are pushing. We will not tire to push and ensure that the government does the right thing. And also, this has also, the End Femicide Movement has given women in this country a safe space for them to know that they can be able to organize, for them to know that they can be able to speak out when there are issues that are affecting women that need to be said. What is happening currently, every evening when you open your TV or when you listen to news, there will definitely be a case of femicide that you will hear. And unfortunately now the issue is actually mutating. We are now seeing a lot of missing children across the country. And unfortunately, nothing is being done. And I think, Rachel, if you may allow me, my call to the government, some of this, the issues that women and Kenyans are bringing out on issues of femicide are quite heavy issues that this country really needs to ensure that it does something before it is too late. We cannot be counting thousands of women being killed because of the fact that they are women. And the 44% that the government did not take, there are also quite a number of good recommendations that we shared that we feel the government can gradually starting to take them into perspective. And also I feel that through the platform, the government has an opportunity to have a conversation with the End Femicide Movement, because the people who are within that movement are the ones who are being violated.
Yeah.
And Rachel, we have had the cases of femicide in this country have gone up because of technology.
Yes.
Most of the violations and how femicide actually starts is through technology-facilitated gender-based violence, where we see women being attacked on social media platforms. I think it's high time that the online space is actually regulated, and especially with regard to gender-based violence. How can people be regulated better to use the online spaces in a more responsible manner, in a way that does not inflict pain to other people?
However, Gloria, because you're a lawyer, and there's been a lot of contradiction even around the reports, and I know you are aware that there are some people are saying, oh, we don't agree with the whole reports. However, there are some of us who say we gave our input in terms of public participation as right holder to our duty bearers who are also like representing the government. That's the task force. And we say these are the things we want. And some are also contradictory to the law. However, they picked them and put it to the report. And that maybe would be accumulating to that 56% that you're saying. However, we acknowledge that they have not implemented any of this, because we have seen also there's been women, because of their different political position, like Rachel Wandeto was killed.
Yes.
And there's been another one who was attacked because of saying 2-term. This might end up even for 1-term, women being attacked, or independent term, or no position around political affiliation, which is their right. So I'd really want to ask you, as someone who has been part of End Femicide and who still is part of End Femicide, and also is a lawyer, what are these contradictions that some people, even some activists like ourselves, are saying, Some community members are like, as we participated, it's okay, we go. But the others, they're like, we can do better, or we can rethink. So where would be a strategic point of view that even you can advise from where you sit, and someone who led also this process, that we need to focus as we head to elections?
Rachel, I'm one person who really believes in dialogue. And if the recommendations that were given to the president do not sit well with the president, I'm sure it's not the whole document. I'm sure there are recommendations that, and the most contentious one is actually castration of of the people who are found guilty. It is okay, but where I sit, we have not even implemented those that we know are implementable. And if those that we feel are implementable, even from the government's point of view, I feel there will be a decrease in femicide in this country. Castration, yes, it can be discussed because yes, it is against human rights. But also, I am thinking, why are we not implementing the others that are within the law,
Yes.
are constitutional, and they need to be implemented? So my call to the government will actually be, you gave us a task force, you gave Kenyans a task force to look into these issues. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We are readily and available to support in implementation. And what does the support look like? We can sit down with the judiciary and say, when cases of SGBV are being litigated, these are the bare minimum, this is the threshold, and this is the criteria of how those cases need to be litigated. Because when people see, when the violators of femicide see that there's actually action that is being taken and implemented, definitely, Rachel, there will be a serious drop on the cases of femicide that we see in this country today.
So let me flip it a bit, Gloria. Now, I take it, this is out of like expert to expert with the issue, yeah? If you look with the case of Starlet Waru, where majority of us, including myself, will say judiciary has failed us. But there are levels I feel sometimes we don't hold DPP accountable in terms of collecting investigation and everything, which also they become a barrier. And I know also as an institution, you have been working closely with DPP around even some of these cases, when also you are paying for defenders to get lawyers to be able to support families to get justice. So from your own expert perspective, where do you see the gap of ensuring that we end femicide in this country? I know there are many gaps, but where do you see the gap when it comes to justice?
You're right, Rachel. You see, for a case to start in court, it has to have very good evidence. And the people who collect this evidence is actually the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution through the police, who they work very closely with. I feel the opportunity that this government has is to enhance the capacity of the Office of the DPP. They might not have the muscle that they require in collecting this evidence. How can they support that particular institution to make sure that they collect evidence that meets the threshold of an SGBV case when it goes to court, so that we don't see these cases flopping left, right, and center? And also for the police, when we are talking about their curriculum at the police training school, are they being trained on anything on SGBV? Do they know how to investigate cases to do with SGBV? So I feel the government also has a role to play in this. And where does the role come in? Please resource these two institutions and be very specific on issues of SGBV. Resource them by ensuring they get the training that they require so that they are able to litigate cases of SGBV that meet the threshold of the laws and policies that are governing how SGBV cases need to be litigated in Kenya.
Yeah. So, Gloria, I'm trying to look for a utopia world where most of us will say we want a world that has freedom, justice, safe for women human rights defender, for human rights defender. We are heading to elections. We are seeing the cases of femicide increasing. We know there's a lot of work with End Femicide in Imama through Defenders Coalition, but also with the support of Kenyan women and Kenyan public. So what are the plans? We are heading to election. What are the plans around the work to end femicide in collaboration with Defenders Coalition, being that also you are the head of partnership and programs?
Yeah,
what do you expect to see?
Rachel, the conversations have already started. And you have just reminded me, during election cycles in this country, the number of SGBV cases that are recorded or are reported really escalate. And women organizations have come together, and already people are starting to discuss how can we bring in the electoral body, IEBC, to see what measures they are putting in place when cases of SGBV come to them because of elections. We are also trying to see how we can convene the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. When electoral cases are brought to them, what sort of evidence needs to be there, and especially if they are election-related cases but are taking an SGBV angle. We are also looking forward to speaking to the judiciary very soon when some of these cases that are election-related but again taking the SGBV angle. What are some of these things that need to be looked into, and how can we come together? Number one, to push back, to ensure that we do not record the number of SGBV cases that we have recorded previously in other electoral cycles, but also moving forward, what are some of the measures that these institutions, the public institutions, have put in place to ensure that we will no longer see an escalation of SGBV cases during the election period. And therefore, we, as the Defenders Coalition, have already started working with women human rights defenders. Number one, which is very critical for us, is documenting. If something is not documented, it did not happen. And once we document, we have evidence that we can now share with the institutions that have been given the mandate to look into these things. Therefore, we have already started mobilizing our women through a platform that we call Mutetezi application, where they are now documenting cases that are specifically affecting women human rights defenders. We are looking in those cases, and when we are documenting them, we are also analyzing and seeing which case falls within which institution, and we see how we can be able to work with them together.
Okay, so there's so much awaiting in terms of pushing this struggle forward beyond the task force, beyond the recommendation if we agree or not, but also look in terms of justice from a lived reality.
Yes, Rachel.
Yeah, so my other question is also like now personalizing your struggle. Gloria, we give you a lot of stress. We called you. Some of us, we tell you things. You don't sleep most of the time. You're always there for us. What time do you rest? How does your 24-hour clock system look like?
Rachel, I will tell you this for one thing, for sure. You cannot be in this space if it is not something that is in you. If you are here because of a salary in the space that we work, you will definitely throw in the towel and say enough is enough. My daily, if I was to give you how my day starts,
yes, what time do you wake up?
I have learned, but previously I didn't have quite a time that I could say I wake up at this time, but over the years I have learned to take care of myself. I used to have emails on my phone. I would wake up at 2 a.m., look at emails, and even respond. And my colleagues would really wonder, like Gloria, what time do you sleep? And this got to me, to a point of now my phone number was with every human rights defender. Everybody would call, and I would really try to struggle to see how I could support them and all that. It took a toll on me, and especially when I couldn't offer the support that someone really needed. In this work, Rachel, I have seen human rights defenders lose their lives because of standing in the gap for people. And one critical case that I am reminded of is the one of Elizabeth Ekaru from Isiolo, a very strong woman human rights defender who was killed because she has been speaking truth to power. Such events really bog me down.
Even Lily.
Exactly.
Burnout.
Lily died as a result of burnout. And I will tell you for sure, over the years, I have learned to take care of myself. And over the years, Rachel, I have gotten a network, sisterhood, feminists from across the globe who are standing with me as an individual, but also with other women in this country. Solidarity networks out here are just amazing. I wish I could name all of them, but from South Africa to Senegal, to Uganda, to Zimbabwe, to South Africa, I have a whole battalion of women human rights defenders, feminists, who stand in the gap. When they see something, or when I meet with them and they look at me and like, hey, Gloria, you're not okay. And they will give me space just to hear me out. And for me, that has really made it for me. And that's why I can continue with this work. And also, Rachel, guess what? I also got to a point and told myself a pause is okay. So I never used to go for leave. Even when I take time off and go for leave, I would go with my laptop, I would go with but it got to a point and I told myself no. And especially when we now started being very deliberate in seeing how we can support human rights defenders in their own wellness. I also told myself I am a defender as much as I am supporting people to defend their rights. I have been taking care of myself. I take time with my children. I take time with my family. I take time off this space. But I will tell you for sure, it is not easy because I will still receive those calls, but I have managed to know how I can be able to support without me offering the support directly. I have other colleagues who I work with. There are many institutions now that offer support to human rights defenders. We also give them an opportunity to support human rights defenders.
What are the things you would love to be remembered by the future generation?
I would love to be remembered.
We don't want to write your biography, things that also you'll say, Rachel, this one, no. What are the things personally you say as Gloria? If I happen to be not in this world, or if I still am alive, these are the things I want to be remembered for.
I would want young women, and especially women human rights defenders, to know that it is possible for them to stand up for their rights no matter what. And number two, it is important for all women human rights defenders from all walks of life to take care of themselves. It is okay for you to take care of other people, but it is also important for you to take care of yourself. I would also want to be remembered as that person who ensured that there's a solution to something, and especially through dialogue. Not all is lost, but I am one person who knows and who really ensures that dialogue takes precedence. Before any fights, before any conclusions, it is always important to have a sit down and listen to different perspectives, because those different perspectives are the ones that build us. Rachel, you know, I've known you for very many years. And in fact, right now I'm looking at you and I'm like, I've known Rachel since she was a very young girl. Rachel, where do you get this energy? Be it early in the morning, you're so jovial. Late in the night, you're so jovial. And in the meantime, when I look either at your social media pages, the work that you do under Pussy Power, the work that you do under Coalition of Grassroots Human Rights Defenders, you've done a lot. But your energies are always up. What keeps you going?
Tough one. People like you keeps me good.
Oh.
And thank you for being a support system.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel.
And many other sisters. So you're the people who keep me going.
Thank you, Rachel.
You know, it's not easy. And that's why I say it specifically. Let's ask each other a question. And I hope even for this particular episode, we can rethink collectively, even for others, how we create spaces to support people like us, you, I, and others who defend others, but also a space that can make us also feel we are supported and loved.
Thank you so much.
So
continue holding space. We appreciate you and we love you.
Let's continue.
You.
So Gloria, thank you so much. Thank you for the work you do as an individual, as an institution, Defenders Coalition. Thank you for ensuring all of us are safe and feel loved and supported.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. And for your leadership.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Gloria, and thank you for the work you do, for holding space, for Defenders Coalition, for supporting the movement. We appreciate the work all of you do for ensuring that people like us who make beautiful troubles for the world to be a better place, for democracy to be felt, for democracy to be breathed in life, we keep on going. And this was episode 8. And please keep on sharing and ensure the word gets to everybody.